Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Sempre Milan bonus podcast on Substack. This week, we are going to be taking stock of how things are going around Serie A, looking at some of Milan's rivals, potentially for the title, but definitely for the top four, and how the season has begun in general. Howdy, partner.
Happy Thursday.
I appear to have given my previous illness to you through the medium of podcast. So I apologize for that.
The 5G wave getting us. Yeah, thanks, Pfizer. Who do we know that works at Pfizer? Anyone? No? Okay.
I have a mate who lives back up north, and he was working on the vaccine for COVID. I'll reveal no more than that, but he took it. Nice. So big pharma.
Well, at least he says we could say crazy stuff, you know.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we're behind a wall. Build that wall. Good start. Yeah, it just got a bit of a cough, so I'll try. And I mean, I'm not 100% yet, but I'm feeling a lot better, so I'll try and do a bit of heavy lifting on this one. As mentioned in the intro, it's an interesting time at the moment because obviously we do our preseason predictions every year. We put them out as a podcast and as an article. We do them before the summer transfer window is shut because that's what people have voted that they prefer for us to do. So I guess in some cases our predictions could change. We're at that point now where we've had 7 games. We're about to head into round 8. We play Pisa tomorrow night. We're recording this on a Thursday. We have a chance to go 4 clear at the top of the table while waiting for other results to take place. And there's big games like Napoli-Inter that happen this weekend. But it's sort of a bit of a chance, I guess, to take stock of where everything is. I don't think that, and Allegri has said this before, don't think after 7 games you can start to point to the table and deduce loads. But it's in that fun zone for me where you can still have some shock teams where they're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And things haven't even themselves out yet with sample size. But you're starting to see things take shape and gaps start to form in the table. And we could contribute to one of those gaps opening up tomorrow night. So fingers crossed we navigate an injury crisis that is not going to get much easier. And we managed to beat Pisa. We previewed that on the main pod, so go check that out. And what have we got for that? Stefano is doing the post-match instant reaction for that, also on the Substack. So stay tuned for that. So here we go. I want to start with how the Serie A table currently looks. Pretty sight that, isn't it? Eh? Us up at the top.
It's nice.
Looks
good.
It's good
to see.
Again, apologies if you're listening. I've just displayed a graphic for those who are watching, but it literally is just the Serie A standing. So you've got Milan up there in top, 16 points from our opening 7 games and a +7 goal difference. That's pretty good. I want to go through things team by team, so I'm not just going to read down the table and stuff. What jumps out at you there? What are you looking at there and thinking, that's not right? Is it Fiorentina? Are Fiorentina the headline because they're normally in and around the top 8, but they are currently 3rd bottom, having not won a game?
Yes and no. I feel like they've been getting worse every year. This is obviously a big drop off. I don't remember where they finished last year, but it certainly wasn't 18th, right? I think Lazio is more of a surprise to be bottom half right now. I feel like they're consistently around Europa or Conference League spots, and that's kind of a big surprise. We all predicted Como would be doing well, so that doesn't shock me. Cremonese in the top 10. Gee, which team lost to them on opening day? That's crazy, huh?
Maybe they're a good side. Maybe that result
that's what it is.
Was absolutely fair. Yeah. But so thing with Fiorentina is what we've got to judge firsthand, obviously, in addition to watching other games of theirs, if you did manage to catch any other games of theirs, is the performance that they had at San Siro. And that, for me, was not one necessarily of a team that is a bottom 3 team. It's certainly not one that's going to finish there. I think they've got enough quality on paper to get themselves out of that situation. But you can't deny that Pioli's having a bit of a rough ride there on his return. They've had some bad results, in addition to that. But then when you get the game in a situation like they did against us on Sunday, and they're winning going into the final half hour of the game, and they lose it in that way with such a clumsy penalty. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I see them going on a surge up the league, So are they really going to be aiming for mid-table?
I think so. I think anywhere from like 9th to 12th is where they'll finish. They'll bounce back. I don't believe Pioli finishes the season there. I mean, well, maybe
No.
because they've given him 7 games unbeat or without a win. The exact opposite of what I almost said. Sorry. 7 games without a win. That's a long leash to start the season. So if they're just going to give him the year, then I think they might struggle, but they'll get out of relegation. They won't go down.
Sorry. I was just going to say I don't think that their business this summer was anything out of the ordinary from what you might expect from Fiorentina, but it didn't help that a lot of the outlay that they made, over 26 million, in fact, no, over 30 million, sorry, was turning obligations and options to buy into permanent deals from previous loans. So you had Fagioli from Juventus, Gudmundsson from Genoa, and Robin Gosens from Union Berlin. So it's like when you have to spend so much just to keep what you had last year. I mean, I know that's how it works. They're deferring payment. I guess it makes a bit of sense. Thought the signing of Edin Dzeko on a free was good. And then they also went and spent a combined 40 million on Simon Som from Parma and Roberto Piccoli from Cagliari. But they had some sales as well. Nico Gonzalez to Juve became permanent. Coyote to Brentford became permanent. Amrabat to Fenerbahce the same. So they recouped basically what they sold for. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not working for them there. It's not clicking. I don't expect them to finish there. If we're going to go through team by team and where there might be some, you might be betting on the spread here in terms of places that they finish. I do think Fiorentina make their way up the table, and I think it probably comes with a new manager, as you say. Yeah. Might Palladino get a call to go back?
I don't think he wants to go back.
Would they take him back after what happened in the summer with him apparently sort of forcing his hand to leave because he thought he could get a bigger job? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he will go back. I think Fiorentina obviously didn't want him to leave to begin with, right? So they would be open to a return. I don't think they're above that, given the situation. But he's not going to say, "Yeah, I want to go back to that mess." After I just said, "Okay, I'm ready for a big step up." Now I got to claw a team out of relegation a third of the way through the season, or a fourth, or whatever it is. I think he'll probably go to Juve at this point. It sounds like they're looking to make a change pretty soon here, and rightly so. 7th place isn't good enough for Juventus, and they're winless after 3 games now in the Champions League, so it's not looking good for them. I think they'll make a change pretty soon here. And that game alone is more and more looking like 2 points dropped.
Yes, it is, definitely, especially on the balance of play and everything like that. Moving up then. I mean, so or maybe not moving up. I say the other one in there that surprised me a little bit is Genoa. But I think maybe every year I kind of get conned into thinking Genoa are not going to be in a relegation battle again. They seem to have got their shit sorted out. They do not. They're struggling. They are managed by Patrick Vieira still. So he's going into his first full season with them. They finished 13th last season. So, they're probably always going to be aiming for in and around that mid-table mark. I had Como to be the surprise ones to break into the European places. But in predictions, I mentioned the possibility that Genoa could be a top half team. They just didn't really do a lot in terms of transfers in the end. In fact, their net spend, according to Transfermarkt, sorry, not net spend, their spend full stop was 500k, which is wild, right?
Yeah.
Especially because they've got what seems like a semi-competent ownership group. They did get some loans and free transfers. Gino Nana from Besiktas, Stanchu from the Saudi League, Carboni came on loan from Inter, Gronbiek on loan from Stade Rennais, Ostigard, who was at Napoli, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was at Genoa previously, wasn't he? He came back on loan from Stade Rennais, Maxwell Kone from Colombo on loan from us as well.
That's why they're going
sales. Down. Yeah, they lost Kone de Winter, obviously in August, as it turned out. Honest Ahano went to Atalanta. Gudmundsson became permanent. So they actually raked in over 50 million euros. And I think we're actually seeing a product of a manager who has been failed by the transfer business done. I don't think Vieira's a bad manager. He went in there when they were in such deep shit last season and dragged them up the league to a really comfortable survival. And I thought they'll keep that momentum going, but that's the kind of business that gets you relegated from a position of strength. I'm afraid it's just not.
It's a lack of business when you spend less than $1 million in your entire summer window, and then you make a bunch of sales. There's no way to improve. You've legitimately made your team worse, right? If you have 20 players, you bring in 0 and you get rid of 6, your team's worse, and that's what they're seeing. I just checked. Sampdoria is also in a relegation battle in Serie B. Typically they flip, whichever one is. So who knows if they both go down? That'd be interesting.
It's not a great time, is it, to be a Genovese football fan? Both teams are just an embarrassment. Again, though, sort of like with Fiorentina, I look at their team and sort of I don't think they go down. But complacency is what sees you go down. And Genoa have been down before. It's a bit like Sampdoria as well, in the sense that they were sort of treading water every single year. And then eventually it's just your time, especially when you don't do enough in the market. And I do feel a bit hollow for saying it, because I've banged the drum on the main pod a lot about the power of coaching. And I think Vieira is a good manager. He left Strasbourg, I believe it was, because he just wasn't a fan of where that project was going. If you look at where Strasbourg are now with Liam Rossigna, they're flying. And I just wonder if maybe he regrets that choice a little bit. But anyway, he's there. And then I'm looking sort of all the way up to Lazio, and we will mention Lazio. Sort of the bottom 8 is kind of what you'd expect, right? There's